Hello, this is Pete. Welcome back. Got a good one for you today. It's an old classic, Maxwell Maltz, Cybernetics. Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and he noticed that when he changed people's appearance, that their self-image changed, and they became more confident and happier people in some cases. And so he wrote a book on what happens and how we can change our psychology without having plastic surgery. He's first thing he writes here. By the way, hit that like button and feel free to comment. It's great for the algorithm. It helps us get the word out. So Maltz writes, all your actions, feelings, behavior, even your abilities are always consistent with your self-image. In short, you will act like the sort of person you conceive yourself to be. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Is that, in your own experience, is that true? Do you feel like your self-image causes you to act the way you do in any given situation? Let me know what you think. Maltz writes, now, in terms of goal setting, goals that our own creative mechanism seeks to achieve are mental images. In other words, we have a goal. It's actually, the way it translates to our brain is through a mental image. Our goal is a mental image, which we create that goal by our mental imagination. And we do the same thing with our self-image. It's a matter of, what are we picturing? What are we picturing? Key point there. Maltz writes, and you will see later, the method used consists of creative mental picturing. This is going to be the message that in his book that he's promoting here in Cybernetics is creative mental picturing, creatively experiencing through your imagination and the formation of new automatic reaction patterns by acting out and acting as if. So through creative mental picturing, it sets in motion automatic reaction patterns. In other words, we become the person we imagine. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And that's kind of, that is reflected in what Maltz is saying here as well. Okay, Maltz writes, he talks about, this being like a torpedo. The torpedo accomplishes the goal by forward, and then it adjusts its pattern. It adjusts as it's going along. Okay, it's off course, so it adjusts, and that's how we are in our goal setting and goal achieving. Is we make progress, but as soon as we realize we're off course, we make adjustments. Okay, so the torpedo accomplishes its goal by going forward, making errors, and continually correcting them by a series of zigzags, literally gropes its way to its goal. And it's talking again about that automatic. You set the goal in motion through the images, and then the automatic mechanism takes over. All right, next point. This book is really loaded with points. Okay, now, how powerful is this? British neurophysicist W. Gray Walter has said that at least 10 billion electronic cells would be needed to build a facsimile of a man's brain. So just imagine what's happening. You're picturing something. Well, what's happening there? Well, something's happening with 10 billion electronic cells are going to work. So that's what it takes. 10 billion electrons. I mean, the miracle of what's going on in a brain. So who knows? It's like we're reprogramming 10 billion electronic cells every time we picture something. So imagine the power of okay, I picture something, and then it fans out to 10 billion cells, and it has that kind of impact on our overall well-being and our overall self-image. What kind of pictures are we inputting into and programming our mind with? Maltz writes, you must learn to trust your creative mechanism to do its work and not jam it by becoming too concerned or too anxious whether it will work or not. In other words, don't worry, just do the picturing. Don't go, oh, it's not working. No. Don't become too concerned or anxious about whether it'll work or not, but by attempting to force it so don't force it. Don't try to force it. Just trust your creative mechanism to do its work, and just do the picturing and don't worry about it. That's Maltz's message here. He says, For the imagination sets the goal picture which our automatic mechanism works on. We act or fail to act not because of will. Now this is a key point here. We act or fail to act because most people think, oh, does he have the willpower to succeed? No, that's not. That's Mal saying that's not the way it works, which is that goes against a popular assumption. For the imagination sets the goal picture which our automatic mechanism works on. We act or fail to act not because of will, as is so commonly believed, but because of the imagination. It's not about will, it's about the imagination. A human being always acts or feels, and a human being always acts and feels and performs in accordance with what he imagines to be true about himself and his environment. So the key is all in our imagination and using our imagination. It's not about forcing ourselves to do something and having the will to succeed, as is commonly preached to us on a regular basis. A couple more points and I'll wrap this up. They talk about how just to give you an idea of the results this process has been used. He talks about a group in New York increased their sales by 150%, and an individual salesman using the same idea individual salesman got up to 400% increases in their sales. And how? Well, it's simply imagining themselves in various sales situations and then solving them in their mind. So they were visualizing, just like we hear about sports players doing the same thing, imagining themselves succeeding, going through the motions in sports. Salespeople do the same thing, and they're getting 400% increases in results. And final point here. What do you guys think? Have you experienced this before yourself? Hold a picture long enough and steadily enough in your mind's eye, and you will be drawn toward it. So it's like programming a computer. And here's a key, just to make this all practical. Set aside a period of 30 minutes each day when you can be alone and undisturbed. Relax and make yourself as comfortable as possible. Now close your eyes and exercise your imagination. That's really, I think that's what he's saying, is just that sets it all in motion. So there you go. It's Cybernetics, an old classic. It's been around a long time and been highly influential. So there you go. See you soon. God bless.